I'm making this one specifically for my intermediates in the game. If you're a beginner, you need to scroll away right now. This will not make any sense to you. If you're advanced, you can stick around. Why not? Consider this me refreshing your memory. Now, what defines you as an intermediate is two things. The first is you don't get the results you desire in your dating consistently. And the second is that while you may be getting girls, you're not actually landing the girls you truly desire. The solution to that first problem, for the most part, is volume. Just improve and increase the number of approaches you're doing. But the solution to the second problem is what we'll be discussing today. How to get the girls you actually want. Hi, I'm Jace. And after 10 plus years of experience in cold approach pickup, neurolinguistic programming, and dating in general, I'm going to be giving you all the secrets that I have both learned and discovered about how to make that jump from girls you kind of don't mind to girls that you actually desire. Or in layman's terms, how to go from 6s to 10s. I know, wild claim, right? But it's actually very simple once you understand a few things, especially since you already have some experience under your belt as an intermediate, right? The honest to God truth is that making that jump is not really a physical or a social one. It's a psychological one. You're not landing the elusive 10s right now because you're not in the headspace to actually attract one. Because the mindset you need for approaching a 9 or a 10 is very different from every other girl. Think about it like hunting, right? You wouldn't approach hunting a bear the same way you hunt a zebra, for instance. They have different characteristics and ways of responding to things. They have different strengths and weaknesses. Hell, logistically and positionally, you can't even find them in the same places. Not that one is necessarily better than the other, but they are two entirely different creatures. Therefore, they should be approached differently. Everything we've been taught by society, TV, movies, etc. is designed to make us attractive to a certain kind of woman. A certain kind of woman that you don't mind but don't truly desire. With the 7 secrets I'm about to give you, I'm going to help you break out of that. Sound good enough? Okay, let's begin. These are the 7 secrets you need to know in order to begin to regularly attract desirable women. The first thing you need to know is that you don't need to be a 10 to attract a 10. And you also don't need to convince her that you're a 10. What you need to do is demonstrate that you're used to being around 10s. I've said it for years, and a lot of people within my industry don't agree with me, but if you observe women in nature, especially the highly desirable ones, you'll come to find that being pre-selected by other women doesn't make her more attracted to you, but it does make her feel safer with you. And highly desirable women, because of the position you're in, are far much more safety-oriented than most other women. Demonstrating that you have other women just like her that like you is like a stamp of approval on you that lets her know she can fuck with you and feel safe around you. But lucky for us, pre-selection isn't only ever demonstrated by actually having another girl physically there to vouch for you. There's other ways to demonstrate that you're pre-selected by other women. We will briefly discuss 2 of them. The first is your general demeanor around her. However it is you are around her will give her an indication of if you're used to being around women like her. If you're jittery, nervous, all over the place, and have a clear agenda, it's a strong indication to her that women of her caliber fluster you. And you can only be flustered by something if you're not properly desensitized to it. So, ironically enough, being normal around her is enough to show that you're pre-selected. Because you would be surprised how many people can't keep it together in front of a bad bitch. The best advice I can give you for this is approach, approach, approach. There is no better way to desensitize yourself to women in general than by using exposure therapy. And in this game, exposure therapy equals cold approaching. The more approaches you have under your belt, the better you can enter the rhythm of talking to women, and the less like an inexperienced dumbass you'll look like. The second way you can demonstrate pre-selection is something I call understanding her ecosystem. Like I said before, 10s exist on an entirely different planet than the other girl, which also means their experiences in general are very different. Having a firm grasp and understanding of those experiences is what lets her know you're used to those kinds of experiences. Here, I'll give you an example to really help you solidify it in your mind. The vast majority of bad bitches I have personally met in my life have always been on some kind of treatment, routine, or diet. Sure, there have been a few I've met that are just genetically blessed, but the vast majority of 10s you'll meet out there are working tirelessly to be and remain 10s. So having a firm understanding over what kind of diet, for instance, that she's undergoing, automatically makes her feel like you understand her and that you're used to being around women like her. In my personal life, I find myself being attracted to and dating women that are vegetarian, because it turns out despite being a Nigerian man that likes thick women, I also tend to enjoy the slender model type look. And 8 times out of 10, those women do not eat meat. Again, you just approach enough girls, patterns will begin to show up. So whenever I see a girl like that out in the wild, usually my opener is always, "Excuse me, miss, just by chance, you're not a vegetarian, are you?" And yes, about 8 times out of 10, that works. In general, with this, the more niche you are, the better. Talk about her relationship to avocados and caffeine, make fun of her for only doing lunges at the gym, or you can even accuse her of always throwing up her alcohol whenever she drinks it. That's a secret one. Shh. The next thing you need to know is that 10's, highly desirable women, bad bitches, do not like men that chase them. In fact, they love to do the chasing. And there's two major reasons for that. The first is quite simple and honestly quite sad once you see it from their perspective. They are always getting chased, so they never have the opportunity to know what it's like to be the one chasing. It's a unique experience for them, and it's one that they rarely get to have. They're so used to being in a position of being pursued that they envy pursuers. The only women I've personally seen that love the fact that men have to do the approaching first are average women. Beautiful women hate that shit. They hate the fact that their only options are the guys that come up to them, that they can never be the ones to do the approaching. They're painfully aware of how little power they have to choose what they want. So when they have the opportunity to chase, well, they chase all right. Beautiful women are grateful for the men that give them the opportunity to do the chasing. This is not something they'll admit, but it's true. The other reason is purely selfish and validation. Women love the feeling of landing a guy they feel like they don't deserve. And one of the best indicators to know that they don't deserve the guy is that they have to chase the guy. The need and necessity to chase for women is an indication of the presence of a high value guy. So every time they meet a new guy, they're hoping they have to chase the guy because that means he's high quality. Now, the only thing you need to know to be able to get women to chase you is frame control. I have an entire series on that, but we'll talk about a simple trick right here. Something I've personally seen over the years that's worked with getting beautiful women to chase you is literally to just take the things they do and flip it on them. If you take the things beautiful women do to you, but you do it to them preemptively, you automatically flip the script and become the bad bitch in the conversation. So you should be the one pushing back and breaking rapport. You should be the one being flaky, giving excuses, and showing up late. I talk about that in my free course, by the way. Go check it out. You might have been raised to believe that as a man, you should be more dependable than women are. But the science is clear on it. That just makes you boring and predictable. What women, beautiful women especially, are attracted to and respond to is men that are mysterious and keep them on their toes. Men that are playful, nonchalant, have no agenda, and don't care about the outcome of the conversation. Essentially, men that do what they do. Now, I'm not saying bat your eyelashes and flick your hair like women do. Relax. But what I'm saying is on a practical level, if you treated beautiful women the same way women in your past have treated you when they weren't interested in you, you would inadvertently be demonstrating that you have higher social value than them, and they would be more attracted to you as a result. So when you're talking to them, make sure you frame it like they're the ones that are interested in you and you're not sold on them yet. You should get used to saying phrases like, whoa, relax, you're going too fast. Take it easy. I know you're excited, but we just met. I really liked you till you said that. Why did you say that? You're ruining this for me. We'll see how things go. I might end up liking you a lot. No hanky-panky on the first date, by the way. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a good Christian boy. Whoa, stop touching me. I like you, but not like that. Not yet. You can literally do this with every phrase that a woman has said to you in the past that she said to push you away. But only the light and playful ones. Don't go overboard with this. The next secret you need to know is, when it comes to attracting beautiful women, it's better to lead with protection, not provisioning. We've been conditioned by our society through TVs, movies, dramas, etc., that in order to attract a woman and keep her long term even, you need to show her how well you can take care of her, and how much better you can take care of her than the next guy. In reality, that only works for a certain type of woman at a certain point in life. And even then, for those type of women in that specific point in life, the guy that leads with provisioning is not their first choice either. That's just the guy they have to choose out of circumstance. And side note, that point in life I'm talking about for these women is something I've heard the red pillars call the wall. And just to be clear, the wall is not a physical phenomenon. It's when a woman psychologically recognizes that she can't compete in the marketplace the way she used to. So think of it more like an epiphany than a physical thing. But I digress. On a biological level, women are attracted to men that can protect them primarily. Men who demonstrate behavioral cues of protectability are always going to be the first choice. Those are the men that leave their mark and make the most impact on the women they come across. Because those men represent to women the highest form of survivability, aka survivor replication value. It's not an accident that everything a woman finds dangerous in a man, she also finds sexy, and vice versa. Basically, everything that shows a woman that you are potentially a good protector are also indicators of sex worthiness. So to boil it down even simpler, all I'm saying here is lead with sex appeal, not money. Not only is sex appeal a more powerful form of leverage over women than money is, it's also one of the most important things a woman looks out for on a biological level. Now, as far as using this practically, what you need to do on a basic level is demonstrate a very high capacity for danger and violence, combined with the willingness to use that to protect your loved ones. And the best way to do that is using storytelling to talk about how dangerous you've been in the past, especially when reaching that level of danger and violence was necessary for keeping your loved ones safe. Now, you don't have to talk about you fighting off 10 men if that's never happened. But you can definitely talk about how as a kid you wanted to use your stubby little hands to punch a guy that was hitting on your mom. Every guy that has a pretty mom has gone through something like that. You can also in general talk about how passionate you are about defending the ones you love. Any man with any backbone at all feels like that. It'll do you a lot more good to talk about things like this over stuff like how much money you have or anything like that. The next secret for pulling 10s. The most important values and as a result, the most attractive traits you can demonstrate in front of beautiful women are your protection, your wisdom, and your honesty. We already talked about the first one, protection, so let's talk about the other two, wisdom and honesty. One major secret you'll come to find out about beautiful women is that they're all weirdly attracted to and invested in the occult and the unknown. It's why you see a lot of these chicks dedicating their lives to stuff like astrology, right? They're fascinated and drawn in by things that they don't understand the inner workings of. And as a result, they're very attracted to men that have the ability to pass down that wisdom and understanding to them. Basically, as far as the 10 is concerned, if you know things and secrets that other men just don't know, then you are one of one. Being able to talk extensively about stuff like the laws of the universe, metaphysics, spirituality, etc. adds a whole new layer to your personality and makes you a unique experience that beautiful women have just never had. Combining that with your ability to demonstrate that you can use those secrets practically makes you even more valuable in their eyes because you clearly practice what you preach. Having wisdom makes it easy for women like this to see you as a leader and defer all their authority to you. You have to understand, from a beautiful woman's point of view, a lot of life happens to them. They don't really have any control over a lot of stuff, at least not in a direct kind of way. Your wisdom is what will make sense of it to her. As for honesty, it's very simple. Beautiful women are lied to on a daily basis. And a huge reason for that is because most men just don't have the balls to be honest with beautiful women. It's unfortunate, but on a biological level, most men are not incentivized to tell beautiful women the truth. They'll agree with and hype them up on the bad decisions they make. They'll tell them blatant lies about virtues they have that they just don't have. You're funny, you're smart, etc. Or they'll even go as far as construct a whole new personality, complete with preferences, beliefs, and political views, just to get in her pants. What every beautiful woman wishes for more than anything is to find a man that'll have the balls to be honest with them. Your ability to be honest with beautiful women is not only a good way to attract them, but to demonstrate your own abundance and ability to replace them, which in the end they will appreciate because they want a guy that can replace them. The next secret for attracting high quality desirable women. It is much harder to induce competition anxiety and anxiety of any kind into them. Let's look at things from a beautiful woman's point of view for a second. When you're a beautiful woman, you can pretty much get away with murder. You're constantly reminded by the world that you are a valuable resource because of your beauty and that you are scarce and hard to replace. So in the mind of a beautiful woman, there's literally almost no need to be anxious for anything, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. Because what kind of man would pass up the opportunity to be with her? The kind of man that can get her. That's who. But like I always say, tension is the prerequisite for attraction. Tension, in all its forms, whether it's fear, anxiety, or discomfort, etc., is the first step to creating real sexual tension. So when you interact with a beautiful woman, you must find a way to induce the fear of losing out on you. The problem with that is, and kind of what I'm trying to communicate with this entire secret here, is that they're beautiful women. It's very hard to get them to feel that fear. There's something old school pickup artists used to call the hot girl blase. Basically, it's the tendency of attractive women to not give you anything during a set. They feel no fear, they have no anxiety, they feel no tension at all. It's a huge part of why things like negging was invented. Because negging and other things like it, like push-pulls, etc., were primarily invented to combat the hot girl blase and finally have a way to induce tension into beautiful women. Because otherwise, the alternative is just have her look at you with pure indifference in her eyes. And remember, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. I'd rather a woman feel hatred for me than pure indifference. That's terrible. When you're dealing with average women, well, they're average women. So almost anything you say, even if you don't mean it, can be taken as a way to increase the tension in the conversation. Primarily because of how low their self-esteem are, because of their inability to compete in the marketplace effectively. But with beautiful women, don't be scared to take the tension to the nth degree. The more tension you can create, the better. You want to focus more on the power and impact. If you tell the average woman, you have a beautiful figure, but that dress doesn't quite fit you, 9 times out of 10, she's going to get offended because she's already self-conscious about her own inability to measure up to other girls. But if you say that exact same thing to a beautiful woman, that won't be taken as bad. In fact, she'll almost see it as a challenge. Which reminds me, let me let you in on a secret. A lot of people have this misconception that if you want multiple girlfriends, they all have to have low self-esteem and be ugly or fat. In reality and in my personal experience, the girls who are okay with you having other girls in your life are the most beautiful women. It's the average girls that have a huge problem with you having other women in your life because they already know they can't compete. But with beautiful women, I don't care, dude. They have too much faith in their own ability to compete to worry about the next girl. You're going to have to do a lot more than that to induce competition anxiety in them. The next secret for consistently pulling 10s. When it comes to pulling 10s, the corniest thing you can do is worry about being corny. The creepiest thing you can do is worry about being creepy. The neediest thing you can do is worry about being needy. In general, when it comes to pulling 10s, the last thing you want to do is be careful around them. You want to demonstrate carefreeness, nonchalance, leadership, and the ability to take risks. The moment you become careful with your words and actions around them is the moment you become their bitch. And 10s don't date bitches. 6s might, but 10s do not. In my personal experience, one of the biggest indicators of attractiveness in a man or a woman is your ability to get away with less than ideal behavior. So, in small pockets and within reason, you almost want to get away with corny behavior because it demonstrates that you're not careful around her. You're not scared of taking risk around her. Look, all neediness, corniness, or creepiness is a transgression of social law, right? It's doing something that everyone in society has agreed is not cool to do. True attractiveness, especially to high quality women, is being so cool that you redefine cool. If you really think about it, every single person that you think is cool are just people that get away with doing things that you can't, which ironically is what makes them cool. Really think about it. All the people you think are cool are just a bunch of weirdos moving with confidence. So stop placing limits on yourself, man. You'll go crazy trying to figure out what to and what not to do. Do what you want, but do it from a place of power. There are grown men on this app talking about I don't eat pussy. Just say you're bad at sex. The fuck? Since when did making a woman have an ecstasy-based seizure become uncool? Look, there are no rules to this game. You do what you want, as long as you do it from a place of power. The last secret for pulling 10s consistently. 10s gravitate towards greedy men. The thing about being a 10 in this world today is that no one asks you for more than just your looks. Everyone is more than content with just having them because of the way they look. And as a result, they've usually never had to be more than their looks, which is why the guys that they respect are the ones that demand more of them than just their looks. It's ironic, but beautiful women spend so much time working on how they look and how they appear in their aesthetic, but in the end choose to emotionally invest in men that don't really care much for it. Their beauty is almost like a spider web designed to trap the weak flies. The moment that you telegraph that you're interested in them because of their looks, or that you're easily impressed by their looks, you lose your own ability to be impressive to them. Because everyone is impressed by their looks. That is such a low barrier to entry. There's a huge reason you're advised to approach 10s indirectly and not directly. Because as useful as direct approaches can be for girls of a different caliber, when it comes to 10s, all they do is telegraph too much interest on your part way too quickly. How can you possibly ask her for more of herself when you're showing her that you're already impressed with what you see? Not to mention, everyone's knee-jerk reaction when they see a baddie is to be as direct as possible. That's what catcalling is. So no, I'm sorry. I don't make the rules, but you can't get baddies with a direct kind of approach. You need to be indirect. Another way to say it is you can't telegraph too much interest too soon, especially with women that highly desirable. All that'll do is relegate you to the category of every other guy that catcalled her that day. Whenever you interact with beautiful women, always demand that you see more of them. Ask them for more personality, ask them for more flair, ask them to show you their own unique perspective and outlook on life. Give them the very rare opportunity to be more than just a pretty face, a fat ass, and big titties. Allow them the chance to work to earn your validation and extract as much value from them as possible. They'll only stop giving you more when you stop asking, so don't stop. I'm feeling really generous, so I'm going to give you one more secret for pulling 10s, and that simply is to give freely. Be generous. Yes, it's true, relationships are transactional. Yes, it's true you should be greedy about your validation and how you distribute it. And yes, you should make sure you're gaining compliance to give it. But in general, you do have to show a willingness to share the value you have. It doesn't matter how much value you have if you're not willing to distribute it and share it. Because then, look at things from her perspective, how would she have access to it? Again, be mindful of how and who you give that access to. But you must show the willingness to give access. As transactional the nature of relationships are, you have to be okay with giving without expecting anything in return. Because that's what shows that you are indeed an infinite abundant well of value. So there you have it, 7 secrets for pulling 10s. Now go out there and approach, go practice, and make sure you use everything I told you in this series. It's been Jace, your favorite scientist, and do with this information what you must.